Is this what they call one of those crop circles? Doesn't really look like a circle though.
I don't have anybody threatening to steal my cookies at lunch or my milk at lunch as well. Nobody's threatening that with me at all. But today's video is sponsored by Raycon. Hey everybody, you're watching Cole the Corn Star. I don't know what's going on with the air conditioners in Iowa. I don't know if our tax money's just not going to the air conditioning bill the way it's supposed to or what, but they're talking 100 degrees next week, and it's all 80s this week, upper 70s. It's gonna be beautiful weather, so we're gonna try to get as much stuff done outside this week as we possibly can. And then next week, we're gonna be bunkering up inside because it's gonna be hot, which it works good because we have tax stuff we have to do. Anyway, Dad and I are gonna be the only ones on the farm today. Cooper is off working with the airplanes with the crop duster stuff. So Dad and I are going to head down to the main heated shop here in a little bit. Sounds like Jordan, our sprayer mechanic, is gonna come down. We need to do a repair on the front left leg of that. But before we go do that, I need to run into our local auction yard. I guess there's some brush mowers for some skid loaders that we could potentially be interested in getting. Never mind, I guess first we're getting some gas. Can I get 100 out of it? Can I get 100 out of it? Can I get 100 out of it? Can you get 100 out of it? Where would I be if I was a brush mower? His little ripper thingy. Little wagon. Little old wagon.
Hey there, Cole.
Yeah. I'll show you this thing.
Okay.
It's huge. So here's the units we're looking at. This one, I think, is an 80-inch, and that one's a 72. This one's a lot heavier. I think I'd be more interested in this one. Looking at the blades and stuff, I mean, that don't look bad at all. That side looks fine. This one just seems a lot heavier built. I don't see any big dents or anything crazy looking down there.
Like she's been used a whole lot.
The only thing I really notice, right there on the end, that bad boy's cracked out. Just need a new end piece. This one looks even less used, to be honest. It doesn't even have the paint wore off in there. I don't think this one's ever been used. This might be a problem. We can't exceed 20 gallons flow per minute. I think we're gonna pass on it because our skid loader has too high of a flow for what's that's rated at. We have a high flow skid loader, that's a standard flow. We just don't want to blow up that pump on there, the hydraulic pump or motor, whatever you want to call it. Before I leave here, I need to find Presley. He has our 1-inch impact sockets that we're gonna need to work on the sprayer. It's no secret that I really like to learn. I like to learn everything that I possibly can, whether that's fitness, farming, equipment, how to build stuff, how to do things, different languages, whatever. I like to learn. Now, normally learning is kind of my free time activity, but here's the thing, like many of us, I don't have a lot of free time, and most of my time is spent working. And as we know, when we're working, we're often here, we're there, we're in and out of this, that, all over the place. So it makes it really hard to sit down and learn stuff. Or at least that's what I used to tell myself until I picked up a pair of Raycons. We got the nice gel tips on the end that are customizable to our ear canal size. I have small ear canals, so these ones work really well. Then we put them in, and we have noise isolation. We have 8 hours of battery life. And since they are noise isolating, it can be a little annoying when you're around people sometimes when they're trying to talk to you because it's blocking sound. So they have an awareness mode as well. We can turn that on, then we can actually hear what's going on around us. By the way, they stayed in the entire time. In there. Another beautiful thing, hands-free. So we can accept phone calls just by touching our ear. Literally 99% of what I know, practice, do, take in, is done through listening to some sort of podcast, someone showing me something. The internet is a powerful tool. You can literally sit down for a private conversation with someone who is the best in the world at a given thing on the internet. Think of a snap-on toolbox, or a big impact wrench, or a big jack, or even a semi, a combine. Those are pretty powerful tools because those are tools too. Those are expensive tools. I know this is more of a valuable tool than all of those things combined. Because this allows us to do more, learn more. And the more we can learn, the more we can do. A combine's limited to what it can do. It can only go combine whatever crop it's doing in the field. Maybe you can jerry-rig it to do something else. But when we can learn to do more things, we have literally unlimited opportunities in front of us. And today, better than ever. So this is more than just a pair of earbuds. This is a tool. Now, I don't want people just to go out and, hey, Cole's talking about these. These are really cool. Get caught up in the hype and go get a pair. I want you to see the value that this tool has for you. And if you feel like this is a really valuable tool to you, like it is to me, because I'm serious. Everything that I do, like 99.9% of it, I've learned from listening to other people. So if you see the value in a pair of Raycons, be sure to check out the link in the description. Raycon is offering 15% off, or go to buyraycon.com/ColeTheCornStar, and you can get 15% off as well. Not your hand. On the sprayer, each wheel is on its own independent suspension setup, so this travels all the way up into that airbag, and it just goes up and down inside of this sleeve. So inside of the sleeve, we have these two plastic poly, I don't even know what you'd call them, bushings, but they're just a real light material that leg can just go up and down inside of, and it keeps stuff from wearing. That way we don't have metal on metal contact. Something ended up wearing up inside of the front left leg on the sprayer. So basically our dust cover came out, our snap ring got destroyed, then this fell down, then it started to get mangled up as the sprayer started going up and down and just ripping into this. So now we're pulling off the legs. I shouldn't say we, because it's thing one and thing two. We're putting in new bushings, putting in new snap rings, putting in new dust cover.
Oh, usually the snap ring falls down, that makes the bearing fall out. Snap ring was still in there, the bearing came out when the snap ring was still in there. But I never had that happen.
That could have been no bueno.
Okay, back up. And on.
My favorite thing about when Jordan comes out is he is so fast. He used to work for Hagie back when Hagie was just owned by Hagie before John Deere bought into them. And I don't know, those Hagie mechanics back then, they were good. This took them like 2 hours to do everything here. Sometimes it takes us 2 hours to take just the wheel off. Before we use this again, we need to pump this full of grease. This will probably honestly take about a full tube of grease since it's completely dry right now. We have about 1,000 acres left to spray. Then once we get that done, Jordan will come back out and then he'll do his full inspection over the machine. So he finds all the electrical connections, hydraulic hoses, pump stuff, whatever needs fixed on the machine. He'll write it on a list. We'll get the parts ordered. He'll come back out. He'll help us do it. He did notice this hydraulic hose is starting to get frayed pretty good right here. There's 6,000 PSI going through this guy. This is what drives the planetary for the drive hub. We don't want to blow that one because that would empty the hydraulic reservoir in like 3 seconds. And then underneath our tank, this cradle area, I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's starting to crack pretty good. It's already been rebuilt once before. Same thing on the front side here. Starting to get some pretty good cracks growing in there. Jordan said what they can do, they can actually take that poly tank off. The poly tank is also starting to crack on top, by the way. But they can take that 1,000-gallon tank off, then we can put a 1,200-gallon stainless steel tank up there. So then technically, instead of having an STS-10, we'd have our own STS-10 plus 2. I'd really like to go that route if we could. The sprayer's got about 3,500 hours on it right now. Generally speaking, they recommend kind of Oh, in that 4,000 hour range, you're probably gonna get a drive hub or two going out. I don't know. We've had this machine since it was like 800 hours. We know how it's been taken care of. So we were kind of thinking, if we're thinking of upgrading sprayers, this one doesn't really owe us anything. Would it make more sense to run 2 sprayers, or at least have this one with just the Y drops on it all the time? Then when we're doing nitrogen and fungicide, then we could have a second sprayer like an STS-16 or something. Then we could just have 2 Y drop setups. Then we could get done with the nitrogen quick, because that can be kind of a timely process sometimes. Or if we're doing other foliar applications or something where we're trying to be more timely with our applications, having 2 machines for 2,000 acres, we would be able to be a lot more timely.
We got this grave to cover today. It's a cremation. Not too bad of a day, but we'll get things filled in here.
We've started in the north, and we've serpentined back and forth, picking up all the metal all the way through the driveway, all the way through here, past the big machine shed, and on the other side of the New Bend site. So now, we have all the metal picked up. We have no more metal here on the farm, or very little. Very, very little. So we're on to the trash. Like the trash mountain over there. But, while I have the skid loader here, the JCB with forks, and I have the dump truck empty, we're gonna do something else first. This is our big old pile of keep rocks. These all kind of have something neat about them. This is my favorite one. I don't know what it's made out of, but it's really cool. It used to be over by the house when there used to be a pine tree there, but it's not there anymore. It's here. I'd like to do something with this one in the yard at some point. If anyone knows what kind of rock this is, I'd be really interested. Oh, my rock's falling apart. Uh-oh. Then there's just a couple other big ones. They're big, good decorations somewhere. You don't find these all the time. I'd like to do something out in my tree grove at some point, little camping area. I don't know if some of these would be good for something there. Then this one's kind of cool. I don't know what it is, but it's got this streak of something inside of it. And then this one, when it's turned over the other way, it looks like a man's face with a hat on top of it. And then we got like ones like this. Just, I don't even know what that is, but it's kind of cool. Dad has a big old pile of rocks down at his house from what we've gathered from the field, so there's some other big ones there. So we're gonna load these up on the dump truck. We're gonna bring those down there, that way they're out of the way, and we kind of have our nice rock pile all in one spot. Now I could use everyone's help on this one. This is a gravestone for Roy E.L. Martin. Died, I don't know when he died, but he was born March 11th, 1957. Probably 20 years ago or better. A family member came out. They said that person had died like 15 years before, and at the time they couldn't afford a stone, and then 15 years later they could, so they brought it here, and they didn't know what cemetery it went to. We didn't know what cemetery it went to. We called all the funeral home people around to see if they knew what cemetery it went to. Nobody knows what cemetery it went to, so here it is sitting here. I don't know what to do with it. So if anybody knows where Roy Martin is supposed, or where he is buried, or where his lot is in our area, we'll get that put in the right spot. But otherwise, if nobody does, I'm kind of tempted to take it and go to a neighbor that I don't like, go dig a hole on their property and then bury it. So then someday when they're doing an archaeological study to build something, they'll find that gravestone in like 200 years. And then their whole project will get shut down because they'll think it's a burial site. Actually, that's kind of mean. We're not going to do that. Nope, not having it. This is a water hemp plant. We can tell. See how it's purple? Right at the bottom. It's starting to look like that. This little guy. Oh boy. This rock is heavy. Real heavy. When I threw it in here, it kind of rolled. It pushed against this, and this truck sat here rocking back and forth, kind of bouncing up and down for probably 20 seconds after I dropped that in there. I'm really glad it didn't rip the side off. To be honest, I'm not really quite sure how it didn't. But anyway, looks like we have flat tires, so that's not good. We're not being the most efficient here because we need to make 2 trips. So I think down the road what we're gonna do, we're just gonna build a train track between my house and Dad's, so that way when we have extra rocks or extra materials or extra whatever, we can just throw them on our personal train, and then we can just bring them over that way. Then we don't have to go back and forth with vehicles, so we'd be saving time, we'd be saving fuel. It would just, that would be the ultimate thing. Could maybe even load up our combines on it. Who knows, maybe I could get in contact with Warren Buffett or something, and then we could start loading commodities on it. Maybe we could start connecting it all the way across the country, have our personal private railroad. We could find people to run it who are a lot smarter with trains. My friend Brock's dad is a train expert, and he speaks Spanish. So we could at least go into Mexico, probably Central America, South America, and then from there, I mean, the possibilities are endless. So we're making another trip down to the main heated shop. I cannot find a chuck to go into there. We have all the tooling and stuff, but they don't have the ends in them. Probably better fill the dump truck with air because that tire is pretty stinking squishy. I don't want it to pop off the bead. I also don't want to overload that other tire and maybe blow that one off. Then we'd be stuck on the side of the road flat with duals, and that's never a fun time. So we're heading back. This is the top of the terraces at Dad's. It's the main heated shop right down there. This is a water hemp plant. Now, see those top little seeds right there? Well, those are going to continue to form all down this plant. There's going to be like 100,000 of them. And then you hit it with the combine, and then you end up broadcasting it over the whole field, this entire area, for next year. And then you grow more of these. This is a chemical resistant weed. It just doesn't like to die. If you get it when it's less than 6 inches tall, you can usually smoke it and knock it out pretty good. But these plants got away from us a little bit. I'm right on the edge of our neighbor's yard. I don't want to kill his yard. He's got a nice looking yard. So I always try to kind of shy away from this area a little bit, and I run my boom really low to the ground and I go slow. And that made kind of a bad recipe this year because it didn't kill all of our water hemp up here. So we're going to use the old mechanical method quick before the sun goes down, and while I'm thinking about this, because he's going to start seeding out here pretty soon. I don't want birds, bugs, wind, whatever to kind of repopulate these guys. We're just doing what they did back in the day, doing it by hand. These things get a heck of a stem on them too. Look at that. But they'll get like this tall. See all the seeds on it now. A whole bunch. Some good nodulation on these beans. These little things are what fixate the nitrogen from the soil. Got a nice taproot growing straight down. Look at that. We got pods. They're getting ready to start filling. These ones have a little lima bean in them. And nemedamia, or I don't remember what it's called. Something with an E. Oh, pods on there. Wow. Plant's still growing too. If we look up at the top, see if I got a new trifoliate coming out there? Look at that, we got pods going all the way to the top. As long as that trifoliate keeps growing, that means the plant's still growing. It'll end up turning into these. This is a trifoliate. It means there's 3 leaves on it. Just like that. So this leaf right here used to be this guy at one point. Still got some flowers coming in. The flowers can turn to pods. This is the kind of stuff that kind of drives me nuts. Somebody didn't put back the air chuck that is for this air compressor. It's different from all of our other air chucks, which is also another problem. This is the hose that was on the Freightliner. This is the one we normally use for this air chuck. This is the one I cannot find, so we're using this one. Now these ends are almost identical. This one's probably 1/8 of an inch longer. But the one on the Freightliner does not fit in here because it's not long enough to click it back. I just want to fill a tire. As frustrating as it is when stuff like this happens, in a way it's actually kind of a good thing because it keeps reminding us that we can continually be improving on more, no matter how organized we think our operation is or efficient. When we run into these little things, it's kind of a little reminder like, hey, you still got to do this, you still got to do that. So it just makes it kind of fun because we can just keep adding more stuff, and then we think of things like this when it comes to other areas, and then we can just keep becoming more and more efficient. My lights also appear not to be working the best. I guess if we feel a sudden drop off, that means we're in the ditch. I think we got brake lights though, so we're being safe still.